Welcome to the 3 Knockdown Rule. Starring Mario Lopez and Steve Kim. Presented by Hustler Casino.
Hey guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to our show on YouTube. It's fun. It's funny. I break this guy's balls. His wig looks crazy every week, but it's still worth doing it. Check out these badass shirts we got right now. Check it out.
Even though Mario's on it, you'll still learn something, and it's still some insightful analysis. And then I bring the funny, and I don't know what he brings.
No.
What are you talking about? I'm the star of the show here.
You bring the grumpy.
Oh, but the grumpy. Anyway, like and subscribe.
Yes,
3
please.
Knockdown
We
Rule.
appreciate you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 3 Knockdown Rule brought to you by Hustler Casino is in effect. I'm Steve Kim, joined by Windy City Mario Lopez. Good fights this weekend.
Very good fights. I was not in Chicago. I was actually watching it with you. More on that later. Oh, and Smoking Tim Frazier joined us as well.
The bout sheet for this week's show, Golden Boy in Chi-Town, Asked Mario, and Final Flurries.
Today, I want to let you in a little secret. People are ditching all of those overpriced weight loss programs for this, like Life RX. Cheaper way to get GLP-1s. It's not like what the celebrities are taking, which costs thousands of dollars. Life RX has no surprise fees ever. The price always stays the same no matter what, even if your dose changes. Everything is done online, so you don't have to waste time at the doctor's office. You just tap the link below, sign up for a consultation. That easy. They got thousands of 5-star reviews, and it just plain works. So go to liferx3.com and use code Mario for $50 off your first purchase.
And this podcast is brought to you by Hustler Casino. Mark your calendars Thursday, August 21st, because Hustler Casino is throwing a party you don't want to miss. They're celebrating their 1,000th episode of their award-winning live poker stream, Hustler Casino Live. Join the action with $1,000 cash giveaways every other hour from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m., plus a live DJ, exclusive swag, and plenty more surprises. It's going down at Hustler Casino, and trust us, you want to be there. Stop by, get in the game, and see how big you can win this summer at Hustler Casino, or find out more at hustlercasino.com.
Round 1.
All right, let's start it off. Credit Union 1 Arena in Chicago on the Zone. It was a very memorable night of boxing, in the main event in what was a back-and-forth shootout. Oscar Duarte with a 12-round decision over Kenneth Sims, 115-113, 116-112, and 114-114. Mario, this fight lived up and I think surpassed pretty good expectations.
I agree, and I actually enjoyed the whole card.
Yeah.
I thought it was a lively crowd. It was a really good atmosphere. I'm glad Chicago got some love out there. Hopefully they continue to have more fights. We might have to buzz out to the Windy City. And I thought both fought a really good fight. It was a close fight, but at the same time, I felt Duarte did more than enough to get his hand raised, and I thought the right call was made. I liked his aggression. I thought it was effective. It didn't look too reckless. He went to the body well. There were back and forth moments and maybe rounds that could have gone either way, but I felt comfortable with 7-5 leaning towards Duarte's way. He looked very strong in there. I know we were in his opponent's hometown, and he, by all means, showed a lot of heart and had those quick hands with those quick little hooks, but I just didn't, he never really stopped and planted his feet to where he could give himself a chance to possibly hurt Duarte in some of those exchanges, or maybe he felt he didn't have the pop to do so, or he felt the strength of Duarte was a little too much. But whenever there is close rounds, I tend to lean towards the aggressor and the one who is initiating the action, and it was a fun night of fights.
I think you could have made an argument for a draw, but I'm more in line with you. I thought going into rounds 8 and 9, Duarte had built up a lead, and Sims made up ground, but I don't think he ever overtook him. If there is a rematch, and I know Sims wants it, now keep this in mind, this fight was for a WBA eliminator, which means that if Golden Boy wants to press the issue, maybe they get a shot at Gary Antoine Russell, but again, the particular politics may not let it happen quickly. But if there was a second fight, if I'm Kenneth Sims, I'm not so sure I go back on my back foot. I think I have to meet him. How do you stop the momentum? You never let it start. And when he let his hands go first, I thought that's when he had his best moments.
He did, when he was doing those hooks and those quick little hooks inside. And I think he's fast enough to know that he can initiate the actions and maybe pivot it. But you're right, going backwards, I think he needs to go not allow him to get that momentum and to continue to come downhill with that forward aggression. He's got to meet him right in the middle. His hands are quick enough to do some damage.
And Mario, even though Kenneth Sims is a Chicago native, what do we always say about Mexicans? They're everywhere. And if you listen to that crowd, I think it was not that much of a home canvas advantage. And Duarte had the support. And when you're a judge and you're deciding to be up along those ropes the way Sims was, and the action's relatively even, judges are human. They listen to the crowd, and they also see the activity. That's probably where he won a lot of those close rounds, in my view.
You're right, and it makes a big difference. And there's a lot of raza in Chicago. I was surprised, actually, when I had spent some time down there, because I thought, damn, it's too cold for us up here. But there's a lot up there. And look, Sims supporters were pretty vocal themselves, too, but it did seem that Duarte's drowned them out. I thought that's exactly the kind of fights that need to happen in places like Chicago or St. Louis or Nashville or wherever these fighters are from, because you get that energy, you can't match it anywhere else.
It would not have sounded the same in a stale casino where there's no hometown or regional pull. Right. Now, even though Sims lost, I thought he acquitted himself very well. I think Golden Boy is going to continue to work with him. I think there's still something there. Sure. And in the last couple of fights with Akhmedov out there in Saudi Arabia, now this victory, there's no doubt about it, Oscar Duarte is now a world-class contender at 140. Mario, maybe the surprise of the night, it was in the semi-main in what was technically a welterweight bout, really 142 catchweight. The conventional wisdom was that Regis Prograis, the naturally bigger, stronger guy, would simply be too strong for Joseph Diaz. Diaz didn't read the script.
Listen, I got to be honest, and I know both fighters, like both fighters, and I thought that'd be a fun fight, but I thought Prograis would prove to be a little too big and strong for him. And it might be a bad night for Jojo. I was wrong. Jojo, who's always been a pretty technically sound fighter, showed a lot of heart, showed a lot of grit, buzzed Prograis a few times early on, even in the first round, which if anyone was going to get hurt, you figured it'd be the other way around. And he hurt him in the first, hurt him a few times throughout. I don't know if the cut made a difference in the judge's eyes because there was a lot of blood flowing, and that was from a clash of heads after we had saw. But I got to be honest, I had it real. You talk about potentially the last fight being a draw with Duarte and Sims. If anything, I had this one closer to a draw. If I think an argument can be made even for JoJo because of the moments when he did buzz and hurt Prograis. I don't think I ever saw JoJo hurt other than the clash of heads. I didn't see him take too many steps backwards. I would have liked to have seen him a little busier at times, and Prograis was doing a good job pawing with that jab. But then JoJo always answered, seemed to hurt him more frequently, and that was a very, very even fight. How did you have it at the end?
I thought it could have been 95-95. Now, the official scorecard, two judges had it 96-94 for Prograis, and one judge, 98-92, I don't think was in the ballpark.
That's disrespectful.
This is interesting. Even with the result, I came away thinking that if Joseph Diaz goes back down to 35, he might have more left in the tank than Regis Prograis at 140 to 147. This is a fact. Joseph Diaz began his career as a featherweight, fought for a world title, lost to a very good version of Gary Russell, won a world title against Tevin Farmer at 130. And then his life spiraled out of control. In the last 3-4 years, he had lost more fights than he had won. If I'm Regis Prograis, I'm thinking to myself, where exactly is my future? Because he won the fight. He'll get another big payday. Do you think a rematch would be the worst idea from Golden Boy?
I don't think it would be the worst idea. And it proved to be a very entertaining fight, and I think we'll get more of the same. I think Prograis, because he seems to have a little more miles in the odometer, especially at this weight class, I don't know if it makes... Is that the most financially viable fight for him right now?
Yeah, that money matters.
Yeah.
See, that's the variable we do not know. Joseph Diaz, I've always thought, when he beat Tevin Farmer, I'll never forget, it was during the COVID, or right before the COVID, during the Super Bowl weekend. And then from that point on, after winning the world title, instead of cashing in on it, didn't make weight, didn't try to make weight. Then he lost fights, and his life spiraled out of control. You have to think, when you look at his career, it's really about what could have and should have been. Because like you said, he's a skilled little technician, but he's the type of guy, because of the lack of power, you have to be in shape. Because you know every fight's going 36 minutes.
That's the thing. And there's so many cases like this. You can be talented, you can be powerful, you can be incredibly fast. But it being an individual sport, you have to remain disciplined and consistent. And that's the one thing that I tell. By the way, just in life,
Yeah.
outside of just fighting.
It matters.
It matters. If you're disciplined and you're consistent, then things are going to work out well for you. If you start to stray and get easily distracted, then you're going to go off the rails.
Bernard Hopkins once said it best. Discipline is a skill.
It is. Hey, why not to get too heavy? When I pray, I ask for strength to be disciplined in the areas that I need to be disciplined is, because that's the thing. You can be, and I'm trying to preach it to my kids too. The hardest worker out there, you got to be a savage, but it takes discipline to do that, and that's what's going to carry you through and make you shine and stand out from everyone else.
I think Alexander Usyk says one of the most enlightening things that every coach should have on their weight wall.
Yes.
He said, "No, I don't get motivated. Motivation runs away. I have discipline."
Exactly.
Because that's
I love that quote.
long-standing.
That's exactly.
Every
I love that quote.
coach should have that in their weight room for their young men to read.
Yes.
Mario, talking to a few people that work the event and some ticket buyers that have reached out to me on social media, there was probably a crowd of about 6,000 to 7,000. So that is solid.
That's a good crowd.
And everyone said they had a great time, and they'd go back. And here's hoping that Golden Boy and everyone else in boxing looks at Chicago as a major market.
Nice.
I don't believe you can have a sport in America if it does not have a presence in these major media markets like LA, New York, and Chicago. I think you're going to have a real hard time pushing this sport to the masses. All right, well, that's it for round one of the 3 Knockdown Rule, brought to you by Hustler Casino. We'll be back with more.
Catch the streaming live right on YouTube.
Welcome to the big leagues, kid.
$1.2 million.
And I'm losing in this fucking game. What the fuck?
There's a 400K flip. If I win by the way, you get 10 grand.
Fucking straddle!
For my fans!
What? I read it twice!
Wow. All in a call.
I'm not fucking leaving!
Raise it up.
Hey guys, are you looking to get involved with 3 Knockdown Rule and sponsor our show? We have some spots available. Please email us at info@boxbid.io. Once again, that's info@boxbid.io. Boxbid is an online platform that helps professional boxers connect with their fans by providing exclusive Fight Week merchandise, memorabilia, and sponsorships. You can even buy a shout-out on boxbid.io, who handles our sponsorships, and we are proudly working with boxbid.io.
News and notes.
And we're back on the 3 Knockdown Rule, brought to you by Hustler Casino. Okay, news and notes. Mario, what are the things that are inevitable in life? They say death, taxes, and Ryan Garcia bitching and moaning and railing against Golden Boy and Oscar De La Hoya. My God.
Oh, wow.
Again?
So
What? Jeez.
this was a couple weeks ago. I think it initially started, right? It's been a little. Or
Does
was
it ever
was
end? But does it ever really end?
Well, here's the thing. I was confused when I saw that. I don't know what the genesis of that was. Do you have some information of why that, or it started yet again, or what the deal is?
I have no idea. I really don't. Look, Manuk Arukpoyan, I know I botched that name, my good friend over at Boxing Scene, he says, hey, I wrote this story for Ring Magazine, and it's Ryan Garcia talking about, woe is me, I get no respect, this, and that. Then he puts out a video on Monday, a couple of hours ago, doing, I think it was a fake phone call saying to Oscar, hey, Oscar, if it's not a $20 million offer, don't call me, okay, bro? All right, I'm thinking, bro, you just lost to Rolando Romero
I didn't see that
in one of the worst fights of 2025. You say that you're always injured, and I... You know what? Thumbs up to Oscar. And I know certain people are going to say, well, you're being anti-Ryan Garcia. He needs to be for it. I like the fact he's saying, no, we're not doing that rematch.
Well, yeah.
I don't want to see it again.
I was surprised to hear that, to be honest with you. And he did recently go on record saying, yeah, I think you need to have a fight where the public is essentially clamoring for that rematch, wanting that rematch, and that wasn't the case in this last fight. I'm surprised he vocalized that, to be honest, because I thought it was in the contract that there was a rematch that was imminent, being now that he's a title holder, but evidently that's not the case.
The other thing is that...
So let me ask you, put your promoter hat on. If he doesn't face Raleigh, well, number one, if you were the promoter, should he face Raleigh next? And if not, then who?
That's a great question. If you want to rebuild this, and again, here's the problem. If you're going to insist on $20 million, I can't do a tune-up. That's right. That budget simply does not work. The other thing that I find interesting is, well, I got one fight left and I'm out here. I guarantee you Golden Boy has a different interpretation of how long that contract is. Keep this in mind. In boxing, the way it works, and I haven't looked at that particular contract, you just can't keep turning down fights and say, well, that's a fight in the books. You just can't sit out a contract.
And I assume it's not a contract over years, right? Like from 2020 to 2026, whatever.
It's generally fights.
It's generally fights. That's what I'm saying. So it's not like you can wait it out either.
This has been a particular pattern. I remember, and this is like 5-6 years ago. Remember when him and Oscar had their first battle? And then they...
What was that one over?
Who knows?
I know, that's what I'm saying. I'm very confused as to what these battles are about or for what.
Narcissism.
Yeah, you know who's also confused? Probably Oscar and Golden Boy. I think they're confused also. So, and I remember they signed the greatest contract in prospect history. Remember they did the video where they man-hugged it?
Oh, yeah,
and then they did the press conference for the Canelo-Kovalev fight at the train station. So it was a joyous occasion. 10 fights, greatest contract ever at this stage of a career for any fighter. I told someone at Golden Boy, I go, they'll be unhappy with that deal within 3 fights. A year or 2 later, the person I told it to that we both know said, Steve, you were wrong. I said, what do you mean? He goes, they were unhappy in 2 fights. Yeah. So this has been a particular pattern, but there comes a point, again, what does Ryan Garcia really think his leverage is right now coming off that Romero loss? Really?
I'm putting myself in Ryan's place. Do I want to jump back in with Raleigh, or do I want to...
Tio?
See, to me, Raleigh's a more winnable fight than Tio. It's funny you mentioned Tio because Oscar mentioned Tio. I don't think...
talk about another volatile marriage to be. Okay, good luck with that one.
Well, here's the thing about Tio. Whatever we can say about him, the kid can fight, and he's talented. And a much more dangerous opponent, I feel, than Romero. Wouldn't you?
Based on pure natural talent, Teofimo is better than Romero. Keep this in mind, though. To Rolly's credit, he won 9 or 10 rounds from Ryan Garcia about 2 months ago, and he knocked him on his ass. Neither of those fights is really easy at this point.
No, but I'm saying I think Ryan would have a better shot at possibly avenging his loss toward Raleigh than he would a Teofimo.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
All I can say is this. I cannot wait till Thursday when Oscar claps back. I'm going to wait for that one.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, that's going to be good.
You got on the beat, too.
Oh, no, yeah. And Oscar's always offbeat, by the way. He does it kind of strange. I'm like, bro, that's kind of like, what are you, having a seizure or something? Anyway, moving on.
Review preview.
Fight review. Good news for Golden Boy. And this is where I think that this is where the fulfilling part of the business is. One of the fighters that they have developed went to Japan, and he had a real rugged back-and-forth battle with the respected Japanese champion, and he won a hard-fought 12-round decision over Kenshiro Taraji by the scores of 114, 113, 115, 112, and 117, 110, and he is now the new WBC flyweight title. So congratulations, everyone involved. And Golden Boy, like they developed. Look, follow the plan. Sometimes it works. All right, the Ask Mario segment of this fine program. Here's one from Hamed. The Golden Boy fights yesterday, Saturday night, were great, although in the future, how can the Zone balance the nonstop monthly pay-per-views and the regular scheduled non-pay-per-view shows? Now, it's funny this question came up because your buddy Blanket, we were setting up the screen. We had a great fight party. We'll talk about that later. Now, Blanket literally has a distinction that nobody else had before. I literally know nobody that's not in the boxing business or covers boxing that has the Zone. And when he said, I have the Zone, and I think it's the biggest ripoff, wait, you have the Zone? I go,
and there's a dude from Ohio.
Right. And I go, well, why'd you get it? He goes, well, when it first came out, I thought it was a great deal, and Mario said, you should get this, you get all the fights. And I thought there was going to be no pay-per-view.
That was the model.
It ain't the model now.
I know, but it wasn't like I lied to the guy. That's what the model was.
Right, and he actually said by the end of our conversation, you know, when I get home, I'm canceling this thing.
Oh, see, look at you.
Well, look, wait a minute. I didn't break the promise. They did. Mario, do you know that the Moses Itama Dillian White card is pay-per-view?
No.
Yes.
Heartbreaking.
So, and I'm thinking, I have literally gone months as someone who has gotten and had the Zone from day one. I've gone through every price increase, which was at one point $9.99. Now it's $25, and I can afford it. I'm lucky, okay? But it is not about the price.
Money bags over here.
As Big Worm said in Friday, it's about the principle. The principality has been broken. So now when these fight cards are basically all pay-per-view, and you're the one, the Zone, pay-per-view is dead. I didn't say that. You didn't say that. They said that.
And there was no addendum. There was no sort of
For
alibi.
a while, pay-per-view's dead.
Yeah, exactly. And listen, if you're a fight fan, an all-around fight fan like myself, boxing and MMA, and you're spending pay-per-view on these boxing matches and UFC, bro, you need like another part-time job. That gets pricey.
And I want to say one thing. For the first 2-3 years, I thought the Zone was an excellent deal. But now
That's when I told Blanket, by the way.
Right. Thanks a lot there. And so there have been literally spans of 2-3 months. I never go to the Zone because sometimes their schedule has been dormant, and I don't really watch a lot of their shoulder programming like I would on ESPN Plus.
Not a big soccer guy. They got a lot of soccer on there.
You'd have to pay me to watch soccer. By the way, pay me well. Here's one from Ignacio Ortiz. After his win on Saturday night, what do you guys think about a Duarte versus Gary Antoine Russell matchup? And do you guys like a possible Boots Ennis versus Jesus Ramos matchup? I like both fights.
I like both fights, too.
Here's the thing with Boots, though. Boots is now having fans turn on him. They're calling him sandals. They're calling him slippers because he's avoiding certain fights. And
is that on him at the end of the day?
Yes. I can only look. I'm a fan, and I'm a guy that covers the sport. I can't force a fighter into fights, and we've heard the reports of the Virgil Ortiz fight. They thought it could be made. Turk Al-Ashik made an offer. It didn't happen. And then there's other fights, and now it was announced, I think, 2 weeks ago, that he has signed a multi-fight extension with Matchroom, which is great. They've done a good job by him, but a guy like Ramos, guess what? He's with PBC. So now you already know the politics in play and the sides of the street that exist. So keep that in mind. Here's one from Matty Rolls. With the Crawford-Canelo fight a little over a month away, do you feel it's being promoted well enough? And have your thoughts changed on what the outcome will be as Crawford's physique has changed?
My prediction is still the same. You know how I feel about that fight. And I feel that's going to really ramp up as it gets closer because people's attention spans are sort of all over the place. As it gets closer, I feel that stadium is going to be filled up. Allegiant Stadium, of course, I'm talking about in Vegas.
I read on Twitter that during the Summer Slam from the WWE, they actually ran a little ad or some sort of graphic about the fight. So that had to be a sizable audience.
Oh, yeah. That's
I'm seeing billboards across town here and there.
Yeah.
When you look, here's where I think it really shows you that this thing can be big on Netflix and not pay-per-view. Forget the Tyson-Jake Paul thing. That's a different stratosphere. But the fact that the third fight between Serrano and Katie Taylor, and again, I don't know what the viewing numbers are in terms of length, but I think that their international numbers were 6.1 million viewers, and in America, about 4.2.
That's significant.
It, to me, would not be out of this world to say, hey, they're going to double those numbers. Right?
Absolutely. And you know what's crazy about that? A lot of people, the casual fans that just sort of tune in once in a while and they have Netflix and they saw it, they go, that was an amazing fight. Yeah. It was like the best fight they'd ever seen.
Right. Because it's the only one they watch the whole year.
That's my point, yeah.
So we have to be honest about it. And we go back. Netflix, I guarantee you, both of us probably know about 100 people that have Netflix, right? Ask how many people actually have the Zone, Mario, in America. And that's why I keep talking about the erosion of the sport. People can say, well, the Zone's showing 35 shows. And I say, yeah, scan your area in a 50-mile radius. How many people actually have the Zone?
No, that's a solid point. And the thing about Netflix, too, and I'm sure as it gets closer to the fight, they're going to have that fight plastered on the main page, on the homepage.
On
and
the top bill.
Top bill, and that means a lot. People are like, ooh, and live programming, people are going to really tune. I actually think it might do double that number of Taylor Serrano.
And here's one from Earth Whale 1990. Years ago, the experienced Carl Thompson let the red-hot David Haye punch himself out and came through to stop Haye. If Dillian White survives the early rounds, what are the chances of something similar happen? Because Itama, Moses, hasn't faced a single crisis yet in the ring, and White will punch back. First of all, that's a very good question. I think Dillian White simply cannot pull the trigger. I think he's slow. He's ponderous. I am a believer in Moses, and I am now debating, do I take my aluminum cans to the recycling bin to scrounge up $60 to watch that on pay-per-view? I don't know. Can I have a loan, Mario?
Bring your laptop.
Yeah, you got a link for me? Here's one from our boy Sanch. Ask that San Diego Dodger fan, Mario Lopez, will boxing over-marinate the Virgil Ortiz-Xander fight? If boxing was a real sport, they'd fight now. Leonard versus Hearns fought before they were 28. Actually, Leonard and Hearns were about 25 and 23.
Right at their peak.
You know how old Virgil is? 27. Now, I get it, Xander's 22. And then, Mario, I want to talk about the back and forth thing that went on between the two.
They were letting their hands go on X.
You know, there's a way to handle this. There's a way they could settle this.
Get in the ring.
I mean, yeah. What?
By the way, it was a pretty entertaining back and forth where Xander was basically calling Virgil a non-champion, and he got to a belt quicker than he has. But Virgil came back with pretty solid points. You haven't even beat a top 10 opponent, and I beat world champions, and
all facts.
All facts. And he goes, you can't stand him. And he goes, well, the fact remains out of it, but you're not technically still a legit world champion. So look, that fight I think would do some good business. You got the Mexican-Puerto Rican rivalry going on, and I would have to favor Virgil heavily.
So would I.
In that fight.
At least 2.5, 3-1. Now, I do believe Xander's boxing skill and fundamentals would make him a solid guy in the first half of the fight. But when it comes to offensive firepower and the ability to hit through people, that's all Virgil. Keep this in mind. Ring Magazine, I believe, has Virgil Ortiz rated number 2. Xander just entered the 154-pound rankings for Ring Magazine at number 8.
Well, there you go.
Here's the question, though. At what point will these two fighters say to both their promoters, hey, put aside your differences. We want to fight. We want to do it now.
This seems like it could, and again, I'm the eternal optimist here, work because Golden Boy and Top Rank have worked together in the past, and Bob and Oscar seem to be getting along, and I know there's politics, but it seems like right now, especially with the Netflix deal going on, everybody else kind of want to make their
Well, if I'm
stuff
Netflix and I get into boxing, I tell both of those guys, hey guys, I want that fight. I don't want all your other fights. I want that fight, and I will pay you handsomely. But here's the reality. Top Rank right now is a television platform orphan. They're looking for a deal. We've all heard the rumors. I know nothing. Okay, I'm like Sergeant Schultz. Okay.
Hogan's Heroes reference. Damn, that's old
I've
school.
used that. I know nothing.
You didn't even get that.
So now
got it.
Golden Boy is ensconced at the Zone. The last thing that they want to do is upset their broadcast partner by taking Virgil Ortiz, who's been paid a lot of money on that particular network, and to have his biggest and best fight go somewhere else. See, sometimes it's not even about the fighters.
I understand, but being that Top Rank doesn't have a deal right now, couldn't theoretically we
right,
get that
maybe they should say, hey, let's send him over, become a hero, come back to where we're going to be.
There you go.
But I remember years ago, because I wrote extensively about this, when Nonito Donaire was undefeated in a top 5 pound-for-pound fighter and a bantamweight champion, and Abner Mares was on a really good run at 118. That fight would have been one of the better ones, and guess what? Oh, well, we're with HBO, and well, you're with Show, and guess what? It went to Bolivian. That's the problem, and there's probably about 50 fights that went into the Bermuda Triangle. One last question. I know you're going to like this one from our guy, Vintage Boxing, best YouTube channel for the sweet science around for old fights and features. Mario, if Richard Steele had waived on the fight between Taylor and Chavez, and Meldrick survives and gets the decision, which he undoubtedly would have, do you think he'd have come back the same fighter, or was it the stoppage that mentally changed him rather than the physical?
The dude went to the hospital and peed blood for a week. Yeah. That's physical. That's physical. And by the way, I told you many times already, Freddie Roach, who was there ringside, and some other people, ringside was a different fight. They said they had it even going into the 12th round. And then we saw what happened. So I think it was a combination of the physical and the mental, but he was never the same fighter after that. They ended up having a rematch, as you know, a little bit later. I sent you actually that clip.
94.
Yes. And I talk about you're never the same after the one fight. That's a perfect example of that.
When Meldrick Taylor came back, he fought a guy, and HBO gave him kind of a tune-up. I believe it was Santos Cardona. It was a solid, tough 10-round fight. I remember watching it. Didn't look the same.
Yeah, then he fought Terry Norris.
Well, he actually did win a title in a good fight against Glenwood Brown. But even then, you're like, he's not the same guy. And then he fought Crisanto Espana, the big, tall guy out of Europe. I think he was Spaniard, who Ike Corte won the title for him in a tough fight. He got knocked out. Then he moved up to above. I think they fought at 152 against Terry Norris, and it was over. It was over. Now, against Chavez in the rematch, he had a lot of heart. He threw a lot of punches, but the whole time, it was just like marshmallows bouncing off a battleship. You kind of knew Chavez had way too much on that particular night. I don't think, regardless of the decision, if they would have allowed Meldrick to finish the last 2 seconds, that was it. The prime ended on that particular night. March 17th,
Crazy
1990.
how one fight.
Fernando Vargas Trinidad's the same thing.
Yeah, but one fight you were theoretically winning too.
Yeah.
That's the craziness.
There is winning and losing, and there's losing and winning.
Final flurries.
Moving on, final flurries. Mario, people always say, have you fought? Well, you know who believes you fought? Who actually thinks you're a fighter? Mr. Joe Rogan. That was very nice of him to say that.
Yeah, a bunch of people were sending me clips of Rogan talking about me on his podcast, and he, my guy's got all the money in the world and doesn't have to say anything that he doesn't believe, and he's always very honest. So it was very humbling and nice for him to say that he called me a good boxer and jiu-jitsu martial arts practitioner and wrestler and all that, and he played the clip of when I was wrestling that Take Me Down kid.
How
Georgia
well do you know Joe?
I mean, I know him not that, not like, hey, how you doing? Like a quick hi and stuff, but not very well. So that was very nice. And I appreciated it and reposted it. So I thought that was very good. I said, I'm just trying to represent for guys in our 50s right here.
Now, Mario,
But
you did.
that was serious street cred, though.
Right. Now, you did wrestle in high school, right? For a while?
Yeah, I grew up wrestling, and then obviously I got into jiu-jitsu and
You
boxing.
saw Saved by the
and
Bell.
stuff, so,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Mario, by the way, you know what was elite? Pound for pound on my list. Maybe top 5.
What's that?
Your watermelon margaritas. Wow.
That was next level. It wasn't even a margarita. I got crazy trying to make
Is it a daiquiri?
I get it was a Mario Rita.
He turned it into a mixology.
You did a hell of a job.
I put real watermelon, real strawberries with Malibu rum, some bourbon, tequila,
shaved ice,
orange juice
with the
shaved ice.
That was a rich ice,
A
too.
little, yeah. No, it was good. But bro, I took 2 of those, and you got twisted quick. And so they were serious. But after that, why were you and I the only ones in the pool? I feel like we're the only ones that knew how to swim. I was surprised. I didn't think you could swim.
By the way,
for some reason, I didn't think Kim could swim. This fool's like the Asian Michael Phelps over here. He's got form and everything.
I was thinking more Korean Mark Spitz, but I guess your
Dude,
reference
you keep
is
going old school.
I go old school. I keep it real. Look, growing up in Montebello, I had a pool, not Olympic size, but I would do laps. My swimming is actually, I would say, above average.
Okay.
Now, I haven't actually gone swimming in a long time. Okay.
You look like you would just sink like a rock.
Hey, it felt good, huh?
It felt very good.
Dude, we have a cocktail, and we're getting in the pool, we're watching the fights. Let's get better than that, right?
Yeah, and nice setup. You found the remote control.
I found the remote, this and that. As soon as actually, my boy Blanket found the remote. I'm going to give him props for that. But when the yard's done, I get the grass, and we got the pickleball. We're going to see your pickleball skills.
Oh, the pickleball. Oh,
yeah,
man,
you were terrible.
I'm not good at
You were
that.
terrible.
Some video.
Wow.
No, you got the reflexes of like a rhinoceros.
I didn't realize how it actually is more difficult.
It's
than
twitchy.
It looks.
It's got to be twitchy.
Yeah, it's not like playing wiffle ball.
No.
You're not just trying to hit the ball over.
It's fun though, right?
It is actually a lot of fun.
Once I get the pickleball and the bocce going, well, we're
gonna have a decathlon here.
We're gonna have a whole deal there. We're gonna have a whole deal.
Mario, I loved you called me on Thursday out of nowhere, and I'm thinking, what's going on with Mario? I was like, and the first thing you said was, "Hey, Chargers look good." I'm like, "Bro, it's July 29th.
Hey, the Hall of Fame game.
Don't make the Super Bowl plans just yet."
I was supposed to go work that game for my show in Canton, Ohio. We were supposed to go do a whole thing and interview Mike Tirico and Collinsworth and the whole NBC gang because and do a tease to Michael Jordan joining the NBA telecast on NBC. But I couldn't travel because, as you know, I recently was injured and with the surgery, I couldn't risk getting a blood clot. So I had to stay at home. But I'm watching the game. I'm like, yo, is it just me or are the Chargers looking really, really good?
In July, yes.
Yeah, hey, you know what? It all counts.
Yeah.
Do you like what you saw, bottom line?
The Chargers have Mr. July, Trey Lance.
Not bad for backup.
I know one
It
thing.
was the end of July.
The track record of Jim Harbaugh suggests the Chargers will make a major move. All this guy's ever done is one thing as a coach, going all the way back to USD. Win.
So even in the division being as tough as it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not, huh? You're exactly right. I'm fired up. What do you think about my boy Blanket's team, the Bengals?
Bengals, well, if they got Trey Hendrickson back, they have Burrow, They're going to have to outscore people.
They're going to have to score because that defense is
Look,
shaky.
last year they were about 20 points away from winning 12, 13 games, but the defense was horrible. I expect them to be a little bit better this year. No, they came this close to making the playoffs.
Yeah, I know.
Very bad
They're
defense.
a dangerous team.
But,
very bad defense.
But again, it's late July. Just calm down. Don't make the Lombardi Trophy. Don't clear out space yet.
People getting hurt is a factor.
Get excited.
Yeah, I'm fired up. Don't rain on my parade.
By the way, what's going on with your eyesight? Can you see?
So let me
raining on your parade.
So hold on a second. So let me tell you this funny story. I'm rocking these glasses, right? I can't even look at you that hurt. I have to look down. And my boy Wahlberg FaceTimes me, calls me, and he's busting my chops a little bit about the glasses. Like, hey man, you don't have to wear these glasses. Sure, we're about the same age. He's like, no, I trained my eyes, and I kind of laughed. I go, what? He's like, I trained my eyes. I went to the doctor. The doctor said, you know how you work out your body, your muscle atrophies, you train it, and it gets stronger. Well, the same thing with your eyes. They're a muscle. You have to train them, and they will get stronger, and they'll adjust. I said, are you messing with me? He's like, no. And then my buddy Tootie told me that his uncle did it.
Okay,
same
so
thing.
now it's bullshit.
Hold on. And then my boy Dave told me that he did it too. And then all of a sudden Terry, who works down there, comes out and said Paul McCartney actually did it too. So all these people, I'm like, is everybody messing with me?
Wait, the Paul McCartney that died and got replaced, or the
Paul
replacement?
McCartney supposedly did it. My point is, 4 of these people, I've never heard of this in my life, and all of a sudden I hear 4 or 5 people telling me, come on, you've heard of it, Kim. You can train your eyes. Get out of here.
There used to be a point in time where they used to make people wear an eye patch to strengthen one eye. I've seen that.
Yes, you're right about that. You're right about that.
This is nothing new. Like people would say, like, yeah, I'm wearing an eye patch. Why? Because I got to strengthen my weaker eye to strengthen it. That used to go on all the time.
I'm going to tell Wahlberg then. I'm feeling bad. So these people aren't lying.
I think they're lying. I
they
think they
used
all
to
got
put
LASIK.
yes.
No, he's right about that. I remember
used
that.
to walk around like the Raider logo.
Yeah, they walk around the Raider
The
logo.
Autumn Wind is a Raider.
Have you tried it by chance?
No, I just work on. I'm Asian.
I thought you
Our
did
eyes
the
are bad.
Mike
We have
Tyson.
no shot. Have you seen our driving?
You don't think so, Frazier?
I don't know. I don't think that works. I don't think that works.
But
I don't
Kim's
think
got
if
a
your
point.
vision is already gone, I don't think that you can work out your eyes and bring your vision back like that, because it's not just a muscle that is the vision. Otherwise, blind people could just move their eyes all the time and get their sight
Well, that's
back.
aggressive. That's a little intense. That's a little
That's a
tense.
little dark there.
That's a little
I'm just telling you, it's not.
First of all, I don't
think it's legitimate.
The glasses, I like the look. It does look very distinguished, so I just kind of like that. But it's weird because I only need them for reading. But there is something to be said. You're right about Kim is right in all seriousness. When you use that patch, it does. So I'm gonna tell Wahlberg, okay, dude, I'm gonna try it. Now, if I get headaches or it's just, I'm gonna come back and report.
I mean, Mario, I'm at the stage of my life. I only wear my contact lenses once or twice a week.
Can you see far or close, or what do you struggle with, far or close?
Actually, I can have an easier time reading something like that from the back of the wall than the close here.
Me too. I'm like a sniper. I will shoot.
Right.
I can shoot. But by the way, I went shooting this past weekend. I did pretty well. I will shoot from a distance, great, but up close, you give me a dark restaurant with poor lighting and fine print, forget about it. I'm struggling.
Like when I wear my glasses and I'm reading a book, my glasses come off. They do.
What?
Wait, say that again?
Like, let's say I'm wearing my regular glasses, right? When I'm reading a book up top, I have to take my glasses off.
Well, if you hold it that close to your face.
No, but I'm just like this.
I thought you said close, you struggle.
No, I do.
But why do you
That's
take your
what I mean.
glasses
But
off?
why do you take them off? Yeah.
Because it's just like I have to kind of like, it gets, my eyesight
Wait,
is
does that make
funny.
any sense what he just said?
I'm just saying,
Doesn't make any sense.
when I wear glasses, and my contact lenses, like reading something like that.
Oh, so you have a problem seeing far, not close.
All right. I did some research real quick.
I can actually see farther. It's more comfortable for me than to see something like this.
Then why
close.
do you
take your glasses off when you're reading a book? Because it's close to your face.
Because it gets out of focus. What? It does.
That's the weirdest thing.
It is.
You know you're not making sense.
I know I'm not. But
What are you talking about?
But anytime I go on a plane, you'll see me when I read a book. My glasses are off. You saw me when we went to Saudi Arabia. I never had my glasses on when I'm reading a book.
I assumed you had your contacts in.
No, because he'd have pink eye.
That's the last thing. Because you don't ever want to wear your contacts in a plane.
Why?
You can get. I got infected one time.
When you had pink eye the other day.
Not last week. That was called just needing Visine. That's a little different. All right. Anyway,
hold on. I did some research really quick.
What did they say? Did you
eye exercises may help reduce eye strain and improve comfort, but they are unlikely to significantly improve vision or correct refractive errors like nearsightedness or farsightedness.
Yeah.
Kim is correct about the patch.
patches, though. They used to do
you
that.
are correct. So
yeah,
there's a
because
reason,
it helps focus the one eye and stuff, but
yes,
it doesn't. It's not going to solve your vision problem.
But to be fair, I've not heard anyone doing that in the last 30 years.
No, Wahlberg told me he now reads his scripts without his glasses. He's trained his eyes. I'm like, but he's next level, so who knows?
All right, well, that's it for this week's edition of the 3 Knockdown Rule, brought to you by Hustler Casino. Just a reminder, you want to sponsor our show? Send us an email at info@boxbid.io on behalf of Mario Lopez and Smoke and Tim Frazier. This is Steve Kim saying, till next week, goodbye, everybody.
Hey guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to our show on YouTube. It's fun. It's funny. I break this guy's balls. His wig looks crazy every week, but it's still worth doing it. Check out these badass shirts we got right now. Check it out.
Even though Mario's on it, you'll still learn something, and it's still some insightful analysis. And then I bring the funny, and I don't know what he brings.
No.
What are you talking about? I'm the star of the show here.
You bring the grumpy.
Oh, but the
You
grumpy.
bring the grumpy.
Anyway,
I'll bring
like
the
and subscribe.
Yes,
3
please.
Knockdown
We
Rule.
appreciate you.